Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another episode of ASKgufish. This is going to be a bit of a short one because I'm just about to head off and work on something really cool. Hit that like button, it really helps out with the ever-changing fickle beast that is the YouTube algorithm. And let's just jump straight into your questions. Sandblasted Harley Benton Teles? Did you have anything to do with this? Yeah, just assume if Harley Benton does something cool, I had something to do with it. Just kidding. But also, yeah, so basically we've seen a bunch of companies start doing the Sandblasted Ash blasted thing on their import guitars, and I was like, yo, so can we do that? And at first the answer was a straight, yeah, nah. The Indonesian factories just didn't really know how to do it. They had Moxie though. Now originally I had actually wanted that sandblasted ash top for my signature model, and they tried all sorts of things to try and figure it out and replicate that sandblasted ash top, including using lasers to carve it out. It looked really weird. I'll see if I've still got the picture somewhere, but it wasn't quite working out. And even if they could get the technique, Swamp Ash is too expensive for what we want to do with the Harley Benton price points. Now when I got that 63 OP for the demo though, it was kind of like an aha moment. Here's this guitar made of something called Sunkai. It's a fast growing wood native to Indonesia with similar highly defined grains. And so Sunkai could be sandblasted to create a relatively similar effect. And so now there are Harley Benton Ash Blasted TE90s, or like Sunkai Blasted, I don't know, that doesn't work. Sandblasted Sunkai TE90s. Currently it comes in orange, black, blue, green, and red, all with matching headstocks. Now the one thing with Sunkai, well actually there are a couple of things. One is the grain. It's not quite the same as Swamp Ash. Like some parts look really nice, but there's also a lot of really tight straight lines. So it's still relatively difficult to get that highly defined 3D effect. Unfortunately, that's just not a thing with Sunkai. At least not yet. Now the other thing is it's very heavy, especially if you use the Swamp Ash, which in my experience has been a relatively light wood. You're in for a bit of a surprise. Last I heard about these, the factory was working on figuring out where and how they could chamber them out to make them a comfortable weight without killing tone or sustain or anything. I kind of forgot about these before they popped up on the Thomann website, so I assume they succeeded. I don't know, we started working on these like beginning of the year. It was a long time ago. Anyways, I'm fairly certain they've created a well-balanced guitar, but I haven't played one, so don't quote me on that. Then for other specs, we've got a bolt-on maple neck and then a roasted Sunkai fingerboard. Cool, so I guess that provides a little bit of extra stability. It may actually feel a little like rosewood since it's got that open pore vibe going on. I remember we were talking about experimenting with roasted Sunkai for the prototype, but again, it never got to me, so I haven't personally tried it yet. Really sick figuring though. Then it's kind of like a Cabronita style guitar, two Roswell Filtertron-esque humbuckers, Korean WSC vintage style tuners and hardtail bridge, Graphtec nut. I mean, for 250 bucks, what else do you want? Now you're just being greedy. Now when it comes to Harley Benton comments recently, it's generally fallen into one of two categories. First is, when are you gonna demo model whatever the f is? And second is, what's the point of a budget guitar when the shipping price is so dang high? That defeats the purpose completely. And yeah, I agree. And Thomann agrees too, which is why Harley Benton isn't sending out any guitars to any US YouTubers. And the reason is, well, basically, shipping is like when you take a commercial flight, the plane isn't just filled with passengers and luggage, it's also filled with freight and cargo. Obviously, in the US, we can't fly anywhere, so all those round trip flights that would usually happen aren't happening, right? No one's sending a plane here just so it can be empty going back. You'll lose a ton of money on that. So that has massively reduced overall air freight capacity. From what I understand, DHL is refusing to ship international orders for Thomann. Their only option is UPS Express, which is stupid expensive and quite frankly right now a little unreliable. That's also why I haven't tried any of the new prototypes. So good news for all my European friends, you don't have to compete with any Americans for the inventory. They're all yours. And for my fellow Americans, this is just temporary. The bad news for us is that no one knows when things will return to normal, obviously. Fingers crossed we'll figure out this crap eventually and everything will go back to normal, and then we can get nice, affordable Harley Bentons again. Among other things, like consistent human interaction. That'd be nice, I guess. But yeah, what do you think of the new Sandblasted TE90s? Do you want to see any other colors, any other combinations? No guarantees on anything, but we're always looking at the comments and reacting to feedback. Have you ever played a guitar with an aluminum neck? If so, what were your thoughts, and would you be willing to demo one? Now, it's actually funny you mentioned that, and I've seen aluminum necks pop up all over YouTube recently. And there are a lot of advantages to aluminum necks as opposed to wood ones. They're machine manufactured, so they're incredibly consistent. The metal is smooth, it's really quick, and they don't move. They don't have to be adjusted. Most of them don't come with truss rods. And just up until last week, the answer was no. I've never played one. But just to get out of the city for a bit, I took a little road trip up to Asheville in North Carolina. By the way, amazing place for hikes and nature if you're into that kind of thing. 100% recommend for a weekend. And there I found the Aluminati. The Aluminati Guitar Company, that is. I love the name. They're a small company out of Asheville that mostly makes aluminum necks, but also full high-end American guitars. Mike Haranica from Devil Wears Prada actually plays them. One of his touring guitars was on the bench, which was really cool. So Aluminati guitars are made of chambered lucite, and then the necks are made of chambered aluminum with carbon fiber fingerboards and stainless steel frets. And that chambering is really important because if you've ever played a lucite guitar before, your back already knows is heavy as is what I'm saying. Like those Dan Armstrong guitars, they're not that thick, but the body alone is about 10 pounds. And apparently aluminum necks are pretty heavy too if they aren't chambered. But obviously you can't just take random chunks of material out of the body or the neck. So what they've actually done is some sort of advanced sonic analysis where they've determined what parts they can take out and reduce weight without losing sustain or making it sound hollow or reducing durability. In fact, what they've said they've done is figure out what they can take out and then add a little bit back to maintain rigidity. Yes, science! And they've done that to both the bodies and the necks. Anyways, that whole spiel was because I thought what they were doing is really cool, but yeah, that was my first time playing an aluminum neck. I tried both their fully built guitar and also a neck that they had placed on a $600 Fender Lead 2. The Fender is real interesting because with that neck on, it felt like a completely different guitar. Really high end, which is really cool because the Fender Lead 2 is good for the money, but it is not high end. And apart from the neck feeling a little cold to the touch at first, it felt like just a normal, super high end neck. And it was anodized too, so it had this satin feel, and it wasn't as cold as I was expecting. I thought it would be like touching the outside of an airplane or something. No, it was just a nice satin neck. The guitar was really cool too, totally different, no wood involved at all, which I'm really into. It's like all sustainable materials, super dope. If we're entering it into evidence in the tone wood debate, I'm not really sure. I think it was brighter, but I was also playing it through a rig that I wasn't familiar with at all, so it could have been that. I probably have to get one in here to tell. Apparently they go about it differently to other aluminum necks. I've got no frame of reference, so what I'll say is I don't know if I'm into aluminum necks in general, but I was very into these. Anyways, we were talking. I told them about the High Integrity projects. They thought the Evertuned Hello Kitty was hilarious. They were interested in being involved. We'll see what happens. On a completely unrelated note, does anybody know the best place to get a mahogany Jazzmaster body in satin pink routed for humbuckers? Or even an unfinished one? No reason. No reason at all. But yeah, have any of you played a guitar with an aluminum neck yet? What did you think? I'd love to know your thoughts. Before we get into the next question, I want to give a massive shout out to Aiden Brown and the rest of the amazing patrons for making this and all the other content possible and making sure that there's a budget to create kick-ass videos. If you want to directly support what I do as well and get bonus perks like MP3s and tabs to all the demo tracks, a link is in the cards. There's also an applause feature now straight through YouTube. You can see it below the video player. It's like an online tip jar if you feel like doing that as like a one-time thing. As always, no pressure. It's only if you want to. I just appreciate you guys just being here. Dude, the Joe Bonamassa Black Beauties just dropped in. Damn, it looks classy as f. I remember you covering it in an ASKgufish previously, but damn. When's the demo for it? Yeah, this is a cool one. I remember back in the day, I really wanted one of these. Like a 3-pickup Black Beauty is the counterpart to my 3-pickup White SG. And a few years ago, Epiphone actually made those. But I don't know, I just can't get behind a Les Paul Custom with a rosewood fingerboard. It doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right. For whatever reason, I'll accept it on an SG, not on a Les Paul Custom. And I'm glad I stuck it out because it looks like they've made it even better. So obviously we've got the chunky mahogany Les Paul body, non-weight relieved as is customary for a late 50s Les Paul. No maple cap, just all carved mahogany. Chunky, rounded 50s mahogany neck, and they've added the spec I've been waiting years for, an ebony fingerboard. Hell yes. Quote-unquote aged binding and logo. Very, very yellow. I've never seen an actual vintage Gibson with such clean, uniformly aged yellowing, so it's kind of funny, but it's cool. I like it. It matches with like the buffed gloss they've done to kind of simulate aging. Reminds me a lot of the vintage black ESP Eclipse, a little glossier. Small thing, I wish they found a way to brush the covers and hardware so they didn't look so new and shiny compared to the rest of the guitar. That would just be icing on the cake. Speaking of which, the tuners are a little bizarre looking. They're listed as Epiphone Historic tuners, and they're exclusive to just this guitar. I guess I'm just used to seeing Grover or Kluson style tuners. I'm not really sure what to think of these yet, to be honest. I've never seen an original 58 Black Beauty, so maybe that's what they came with, I don't know. I'll be real with you, they're kind of ugly, but they work in context with this guitar. Now, it's currently listed on Anderton's for £749 sterling, so that'll be probably $9.99 US. A little pricey as far as Epiphones go, but if the quality is good, I'm not mad about it. It looks real cool. I'm a sucker for Les Paul customs. In fact, I'm not even gonna ask you guys if you want to see a demo. It's super cool. I want to make a video for it. It'll happen as soon as I can secure one from Epiphone. Now, I guess the super limited edition version, the one with his name inlaid into the fingerboard, will be like $100 more expensive and come with extra goodies. That's cool for the Joe Bonamassa super fans. Having someone else's name all over the fingerboard isn't personally for me. And as you know, if you've seen my other Epiphone videos, I'm not huge into the Pro Buckers. I get they have their place. They're a little loose and muddy for what I play. But with the CTS pots, orange drop capacitors, and switchcraft for the toggle and output jack already in place, it wouldn't be too hard to throw in some Seymour Duncans or maybe some hand-wired Buddhas and make this into an absolute monster of a Les Paul. Yo, Epiphone is killing it right now with the new releases. I mean, the Prophecies alone would have been enough, but there's also the wacky Nancy Wilson signature, and now this reissue of arguably one of the most sought-after Les Paul customs in the world, a triple humbucker 1958 Black Beauty. Oh, and how did I almost forget about the 59 reissue too? It is a good year to be an Epiphone fan, and a bad year to be an Epiphone fan's wallet. Assuming they can get enough inventory to the dealers, they're gonna have a killer holiday season. I think I'm still most excited for the Prophecies. I mean, they've got the exclusive Fishman Flumes pickups and the brushed metal hardware, but I mean, that 1958 is a close second. But that's just me. What about you? What are your thoughts on the upcoming Epiphones, and which ones are you most excited for? Love to know. And now, of course, it's time to hear from yet another adoring fan. It's the high praise of the week. Your taste sucks, and so does new metal. Yeah, I don't know about that, man. Get Spotify Premium, check out some of the playlists. Newcore is a really good one. There's a lot of really great new metal out there. Granted, a lot of butt metal, but also a lot of great stuff too. For my music recommendation of the week, check out Sugaan Essena by The Who. No, not that Who. I'm talking about the Mongolian band that uses traditional instruments and throat singing, and it's one of the most metal things I've heard in my life. I've been playing a little bit of Jedi Fallen Order, and there's this part where you're in a massive coliseum fighting giant space monsters, and The Who actually wrote the battle song for that scene. The drums are pounding, there's this dark, groovy bass line. The vocals are super guttural. It just kicks so much ass. It's so hype. I'll leave a link down below. It's a must listen. And that'll do it for this week's episode of AskGufish. Sorry, this is a bit of a short one. I'm working on a number of projects I think you guys are really gonna like. A lot of you have been asking when the next High Integrity project is. Stay tuned. Is a little different, and it's a lot more work than I thought it would be. So if you're new, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications, that way you don't miss it. Leave your thoughts on anything discussed and questions for the next one in the comments. As always, thanks so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I'll see you for the next video.